Okay, there we go. All right, and then making sure that the silly little window thingy isn't blocking people's view. Okay, we're here. Thank you for coming and checking out what the heck is imposter dysphoria. Doesn't that sound really cool? I love words. And really, it's all about imposter syndrome. And I like that. Who the fuck do I think I am? Because I think we ask that a lot of the times, or we ask that about other people as well. So let's see. Here we go. So welcome. Haha. Courtney with a K here. I'm a single mother since 2006 of 3 humans, 4 fur babies, and 3 grandkitties. It just hit me yesterday that each one of my children have a cat now. And so I have 3 grand kittens, Navy veteran, homeless to homeowner. That's one of my favoriteest stories. Whoops. I quit smoking in 2017. Trust me, I've quit smoking many times before that, but it's stuck since then. And I have gone from depressed and anxious on medications for the first 30, 40 years of my life to being peaceful and confident. I'm off anti-anxiety medications. For the past 4 years, it has been a drastic 180 from the first 4 decades of my life. I've had a lifetime fear of falling in heights, and I skydived in August 17th of 2022. Whoops. And then just some fun facts, like I have an associate's in exercise science. I'm a certified cognitive behavioral therapy practitioner. I have level 1 and 2 Reiki practitioner certification, and I'm in the process of completing my neuro-linguistic programming certification. So cognitive behavioral therapy is why we do the things that we do, and it's very in-depth beyond that. And neuro-linguistic programming is more so like, what are the thoughts and behaviors that we have that give us our results, and how do we change those to better serve ourselves? So what to expect today during this little workshop presentation. I'm going to explain a little bit of how I've seen the development of the imposter persona for each of us, the dysphoria that's created from the disconnect that we have from our true selves, and then bridging the gap from our imposter persona to our actual true selves. The more detached we are, the more disconnect that we're feeling typically means there's usually a lot more shit going on for us in our lives and a lot more discord. But we'll get into that. So what is wrong? You know how you can just feel off and dissatisfied with life and you're not quite sure what the problem is? And when you do things to try to become better, it'll feel wrong and hard. And you're just not happy with life. There's a certain amount of dissatisfaction that you're feeling, and you're constantly wondering when things are going to get better. Imposter syndrome will literally keep you where you are. Even though you're not happy, it'll still keep you there. It'll create procrastination in your personal and professional development journey. You'll wonder why you keep stalling and self-sabotaging yourself. Like you know the answers, right? But you just can't seem to do the things. You don't understand how you can conceptually know that doing certain things are good for you, that you could actually be happier if you got those habits in place, yet somehow you just don't do them. Or you half-ass do them, or you start doing them and then you stop. There's all sorts of scenarios, but literally it's imposter syndrome that's interfering. And guess what? It's totally normal. This is part of our human experience. This is part of our growth. This is okay. And no matter where you are or how many boxes you think you need to have ticked off in your life, you are right where you need to be. And If you're here and you're listening to this, this means that you are ready to grow even more. So let's talk about the development of the imposter persona. In the beginning, we're born when we are completely in sync. That's with our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. Everything's nice and happy and together. We feel complete unconditional love and acceptance. And quite frankly, like that's just how God, the universe, however you look at it, sees us. Unconditional love and acceptance. Everything is in sync. We're completely perfect, regardless of all the mistakes and the bad days that are ahead of us. God doesn't care that you're going to be an asshole to somebody when you're 23 and 16 and 45. God doesn't care that you're not going to be 100% perfect 24/7. Like, as far as God and the universe are concerned, you are already perfect with all of that. And you're still loved, and everything's gravy, yo. And when we are first born, we are living in the moment. We are judgment free of ourselves and everybody around us. This is our truest self. So just keep that in mind, that is our truest self, where we are completely perfect, regardless of any mistakes and bad days that are behind us, in front of us, happening right now. We're living in this moment. We're judgment free of ourselves and those around us. That is our true selves. We are completely in sync, our minds, our bodies, and our spirits. In a perfect world, that remains true for our whole lives. We just stay in sync. That would be a perfect world scenario. But that would not be the human experience, because life happens and our minds become more aware of the human experience itself and can start moving away, because we learn from our parents, our family, our friends, school, society, social media, the whole world, and our experiences and everything. We learn why things are the way they are, what is considered right, what to believe, how to do things, who we are. We learn these stories. I actually share this more in a generational well-being presentation that I've given before. And it goes more in depth into this. But we learn all these stories when we're young, and that helps us form our personality versus our identity, from who we truly are to who we identify as, who we see ourselves as. If we think we're stupid, smart, fast, funny, wonderful, beautiful, ugly, really good at math, an amazing artist, like whatever we see ourselves as, we've learned these things as we're growing. And quite frankly, a lot of these things are getting solidified before we've had actual time to cognitively determine this to be true or not. It just becomes a fabric of our beings. And through life choices and experiences, there's circumstances that happen that are out of our control, and there's also choices that we make in life. We tend to move away from our true self. So we have our mind, our ego, and our primal brain. I share that in the generational well-being video, how they work. And our ego loves to take over, and our primal brain is very much into default mode. And so once it learns certain habits and patterns and thought processes, it latches onto those and it says, okay, let's go with this. And it's a very big, huge brute. And imagine like a huge bouncer, and he's just, but he's not very smart, okay? He's like Donkey Kong. Woo. Anyways. And we are looking through this different view. So we've got our life experiences and our choices, and we tend to start to move away from our true selves, how we see ourselves versus who we truly are. Our brain literally is dissociating itself from true self. So hopefully this makes sense. And I just best visually see it as, I'm a visual person, so I see that as like our mind is in the center of everything, and then we've got our physical body, and then we've got our spiritual self, which encompasses all of it. But our ego gets very self-centered and believes it's its own island, and just kind of, even though it literally is still there, it is pulling itself away and being like, that's not me, this is who I am. And that's what creates imposter dysphoria. And so what the hell is that? It's a disassociation from self. And our perceptions and our mindsets equals how we view ourselves. So we view ourselves through the filters we've adopted over time while we were growing up, like I was discussing earlier, and we can feel and sense a disconnection. We're not sure exactly what it is. We can't seem to put our finger on it or see it, but we can sense it. It's like intuition is reaching out and saying that something's not right in our lives. And typically it's because our perceptions of who we are and how we've been thinking doesn't actually add up to who we really actually are. So the view of ourselves is not who we really are, and we can feel that. And that is where a lot of cognitive disorders are cultivated in this environment. Imagine it's like this garden bed that's just totally hoarding in some weedy seeds. It leads to anxiety, self-loathing, self-criticism, validation seeking, looking for answers from everybody else, approval from everybody else, making sure that you're okay and that you're right and that everything's fine and that you're acceptable. It leads to sadness, depression, and a loss of trust in oneself. This can even put a strain on our physical bodies and health. And I'm not claiming this as like a medical diagnosis. I'm saying that because that is a different thing altogether, and I'm not an expert in that. But I can definitely state that I have had all of these cognitive disorders in my life, and it was personally because of my perceptions of who I was and the thoughts that I had about who I should be, and my fear of being myself and not even understanding who myself was, because I had lived that imposter life for so long, I didn't even realize who I was anymore. And I could feel that disconnect, and it left such a bad feeling in me, but I didn't know what was going on. I just couldn't fathom it. I had no self-awareness. And here's the thing, our brains will continually seek evidence to support our current life. So if you grow up believing that you are a shy person who never gets things right, you will our brains have so much information coming at them that it has to filter so that we're not overly bombarded. It has to filter what we actually put in front of us and actually acknowledge. So our brains are meaning-making machines and evidence-seeking machines. So it's gonna look for evidence to support what it already knows to be like, see, you're okay. This is what we know. And here's proof that this is what we know. So you will, if you think you're a shy person who never gets things right, anytime you aren't outgoing, you're gonna be like, see, I'm shy. Or you're feeling a little uncomfortable in a new situation and be like, see, I'm shy. That's just me being shy. And you're solidifying, see, evidence. And then every time something goes wrong, you're like, see, I can never get anything right. And even though you do something, you do like 50 freaking right things in one day and you did like 1 or 2 things wrong, all you're going to see is that you did those 2 things wrong, because that is how our brains are wired. So that cycle will continue and we don't know how to change it. It's a thing I call the hamster wheel, WTF. And we can work so hard to get ahead, but we're stuck in this cycle. And our brains are very, very smart things, but they also like reliability. So they want to stick with what they know. And that is why we have imposter syndrome viewed all wrong. And this has been brought to the forefront of my attention in little bits and pieces from my trainings and reading and personal development, talking with other coaches and friends and mentors. My mind has been blown by how we are actually viewing imposter syndrome wrong. We view imposter syndrome as, I'm trying to become a better person, and let me move forward. When we are working on a better version, quote, of ourselves, we worry that others will realize that we are, quote, faking it until we make it. But that makes us feel unnatural and wrong. And this is because we are working against decades of stories and belief. I need to take a drink of water. We are working against decades of stories and beliefs. And this is what I want. If there's nothing else that you really gather from this, what I really want you to gather when it comes to imposter syndrome is that imposter syndrome isn't you faking it until you make it. It's not you becoming a better version, quote, of yourself. And that's why you feel like you're an imposter. Girl, you are doing work to get back to you, to love yourself. The imposter isn't the person you're faking it to make it to. That's not what's happening. You are working to get back to you. You're not becoming a better version of you. You're getting back to you. This story that you've been telling yourself that you didn't even know you were telling yourself because it was adopted upon you before you even could sit down and actually make a conscious and, thought out choice on it. This story you've been telling yourself for decades, that person is the imposter. And that's how we've been viewing imposter syndrome wrong. We've been thinking we're this bad product and we're going to fake it until we make it, and we're going to work really hard at it, and one day we're going to see the outcome of it and we can say, look, we've changed. But that transition person is an imposter. Like you were a caterpillar who went into a cocoon and came out a butterfly, and that whole time you're in the cocoon, you're a fucking imposter. That is not what happens. What is happening is you are literally taking time to shed all that fucking lie of who you used to be, of who you are, and discovering who you really are, finding that girl that you've buried under all of the layers of stories. That you're shedding the imposter masks and costumes. You're getting rid of them. You're getting rid of all the lies and the stories. That is, if you don't get anything else from this, that I want you to be able to get. And I really, 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 really hope that it makes sense to you. And if it doesn't, please hit me up and we can chat. Okay, so yeah, we start off with this whole, we've realized we've got this story, and we know, we can sense that there's something else going on, right? That there's somebody who we really are, and we can sense it. And I'm telling you, the wider that gap is, the worse we feel. The further we are from ourselves, the worse we feel. And the more drama and bullshit it seems that we deal with. So how do we bridge that gap? How do we get back to ourselves? It sounds crazy, right? Like, but I'm right here. What do you mean get back to myself? Like, this is touchy-feely shit or whatever. No, that's the crazy thing. Like, literally, it takes a lot of work. And it's because we have all these thoughts to work with. In order to bridge that gap and to get back into sync with who we are, to come back to yourself, we have to look at those perceptions and our mindsets in order to reevaluate our view of ourselves and be able to actually see who we are, as opposed to who we think we should be or who other people have told us we are or whatever. And this involves self-awareness, challenging your perceptions, removing filters from your viewpoint, work on your mindset, your thoughts, your feelings, your beliefs, and your stories. Give yourself grace. And this takes a lot of time, because this takes a lot of time. And get an accountability partner, a coach, someone to work with that is invested in your growth. Not because, I don't know. You want to make sure that somebody that's invested in your growth, because like they have your truest, best needs and wishes and desires and process in their minds and their hearts. And to also know that you are not alone. There's always people that love to help with this stuff, that love to reflect to you what they actually see of you instead of what you may be seeing. And also, you are not alone, because this is normal human experience. We all go through this. I mean, if anybody watched Boy Meets World, you may have noticed like Topanga, she seemed really in touch with herself at a pretty young age. But I'd have to say that that's not the norm for most of us. So let's talk mind shift exercise. Check my time, make sure that I'm doing, oh, look at me, I'm doing great on time. Yay, Courtney. So let's discuss mind shift exercise, and I'm going to take a quick drink. So this actually takes a lot of work, okay? So I'm going to just spit out a bunch of steps for you, and I'll explain them a little bit more, but I highly recommend literally taking notes and then sitting down and taking time to actually do this work and give yourself time. You don't need to do it all in one day. It might take a week to really pound it out. It's fine. I mean, this is personal growth, and you don't just like quick answer some questions and then like, ta-da, I'm fixed, and I'm moving on to the next level. That's not what it is. This involves a lot of work, thought work, self-awareness work. So number one, identify key belief systems. 2, take the systems to court. Yep, I'm taking you to court. Judge Judy. No. Verify what works and what doesn't work. Determine new supporting beliefs, and then incorporate these new beliefs into your life. So let's break this down a little bit. Identifying your key belief systems. Now this involves just getting pen and paper, pencil and paper. I actually prefer pencil. I have little mechanical pencils, but I don't know, something about the writing. It just writes different. And do a thought dump on paper. And so this is individual, so I can't like give you exact thought ideas to be dumping on, but whatever is bothering you, you can write the question up on top. Like, what's my fucking problem? What's bothering me? Why am I so upset? Why does this keep happening to me? Whatever it is, and then just dump any damn answer. Don't worry about correct spelling. Don't worry how neatly it's written. Don't worry if it sounds stupid or selfish or ridiculous or whatever. Just dump it all. Give yourself some time to do this, because you may actually be surprised how much is floating around in here. And when you actually get it out of your head and onto paper, it helps to empty out your head a little bit and not feel so pressured. Once you have it all down and dumped on the paper, now you can look at it and really analyze isn't exactly the words that I'm looking for, but really check it all out and then determine who are your biggest instigators on the page. Like, does something specifically stand out to you? Or is there a theme that you notice? Or this is literally so freaking individually set. Like it's really hard for me to generalize this, but what is standing out to you? This is where you really need to allow your intuition to kick in. And if you're brand new to a lot of self-development, it's going to feel really wrong, or you're going to second guess yourself. But I'm telling you, if there's something, how do you know it's your intuition? If something on there is eating at you or really just seriously jumps out at you, that is something that you want to definitely work on. It's not the thing that sounds like the most rational thing or that looks like the smart thing to do. It's what really hits you. That's the one that you want to really go after. So you pick only the top 1 to 3 things to focus on at a time. Because if you're focusing on too many things, you're not going to be able to get anything done. You're going to get overwhelmed. And trust me, it's literally doing the little things a little bit at a time. All right. Now you've determined your things. You've got your 3 things. I recommend writing each individual guy on his own piece of paper, because you're going to take your systems to court, your thought systems, your belief systems, your stories, whatever it is, you're taking that shit to court, and you want to, each one is its own case. And for court, you're going to have your prosecutor and your defense. So you're going to write a list of evidence that's for this thought or belief, but you're also going to list an evidence, you're going to have a list for all the evidence against the prosecution and the defense, and go to town on this. And once again, don't hold back because of any kind of judgment. Just let it all out. Once it's all out, now you're going to take time. The jury needs to kick in, okay? So you're going to verify what works and what doesn't work. Like, what is the verdict from looking at the evidence for and against? Have you found some good news in this? Or is this a lot of fake news? Have you noticed that when you had the defense and the prosecution listing out their facts in the law of court, in the court of law, did you realize that maybe the predominant thought or feeling maybe leaning on some weak evidence, and you've got a lot of strong evidence to show that the story could be otherwise? And how does all of this make you feel? Always stay in touch with that, because your feelings are extremely great indicators of what's going on. Once you've done all that, like if you've decided, no, this belief is serving me and it's good and I've got all the evidence possible, then okay, court adjourned. But if you've realized, oh shit, this has not been serving me, it's time to determine new supporting beliefs. And that involves another list, my friends. So we're going to rewrite the whole process. So you want to make sure that you're taking into consideration what the circumstance has been, what the thought was that you were having before, but you're going to now replace it with a new thought, what the feelings have been before, but what are the new feelings that you want to have, what actions you were doing before, and what actions would you prefer to do, and what has been the result you've been getting, and what's the result that you do want. Now, You don't have to necessarily do thought, feeling, and actions or result even for the new supporting belief or thought in that order. It's whatever feels right for that situation. Sometimes for me, I realize that I really want to seek a different result and like an opposite result. Okay, so I write down the opposite result, and then I'm like, okay, what kind of, then I determine sometimes it's actions that'll help bring about those new results. But sometimes really the first thing I really need to help bring forth those results is figuring out what the feeling is that I'm looking for in that result. Other times it's what are the thoughts that would help lead to that result? See what I'm saying? There's like so many different ways to put the puzzle together, but we always are looking at whatever situation's occurring at that moment, the circumstance, the thought, try to keep it simple, the feeling, the actions, and the results. And remember that we're not ever going to try to change the circumstance in order to feel better, because that still gives us, our thoughts and our actions are continually going to give us the same results that we don't freaking want. Because changing our environment, our circumstance is only a temporary thing, my friends. All right, last step. So you've gone to court, you've put it to the test in front of the judge and the jury, you've got your defense and your prosecution, they've been going at it, you've determined, ah shit, things need to change, that the old way is out. Okay, this is the new way that we're going to start doing things. The next step is to incorporate these new beliefs into life. Now, this is where the real work comes. You thought you were doing a lot of work. Trust me, that was a lot of work that you will be doing, steps 1 through 4. But step 5 is lifelong. And actually, this is a continuous cycle. I ain't even lying. It's not like you do this one time and then life is rainbows and butterflies and unicorns and everything is just shiny, sparkly. We are continually doing this, but the beauty of it is we get better and better at it, and we start tackling bigger and bigger problems. And this creates this upward spiral as opposed to that nasty downward spiral. An upward spiral, which also raises our frequency and our vibration and our overall energy and our mood. And the more positive and in faith with ourselves that we get, the better we are at tackling new issues and obstacles. And we just find way better joy in the chaos of life. So now you're incorporating into life, your new beliefs into life. So you actually look, seek out evidence all around you. Because remember, your brain for decades has been programmed to be, I want to just look for these certain things to solidify the way that I've been believing stuff since I was 5. And so it has that filter. So now you're retraining that primal brain, and you're having to tell the ego to take several seats and allow this process to happen. So you are like, nope, we're looking for new evidence because this is what we're doing in our life. And we're going to look for evidence to support it, to show us that it's working and to show us the results are what we want. So you're looking for it all around you because our brains are programmed to seek for that. And then we have to celebrate every little acknowledgement that comes along. It could be something as small as you decide that you're going to tell yourself that you are a money magnet. And then you're walking into Walmart and you look down and a penny's on the ground. Pick that shit up and say, I'm a money magnet. Maybe you don't want to do a little celebratory dance right there in the Walmart parking lot. Maybe you don't give a shit what people think, but celebrate it. Every little one is a drop in the bucket, and it's helping to change the gears of how our brain is filtering things and how we are thinking and how we are viewing ourselves. And please, please remember, Rome was not built in a day. You spent decades building layers of validation and evidence onto these belief stories of this imposter version of yourself, of your non-true self. Replacing them will also take time, vigilance, grace, in order to make these changes. And like I said before, it'll be continuous. It's a continuous lifelong journey. But when you become more in sync with who you are and yourself, it is a freeing thing that I can't describe fully to you. But it's when you know, like when you're there is like this solid rock foundational feeling you have within you. And it's empowering. You still care and love like compassionately and empathetically, but you also don't give a fuck what other people think about you. Like that doesn't affect how you think about you, because not everybody knows the whole story. Not everybody knows all of you, and their opinions are based through their own filters. Like your assurance in yourself and your ability to love and respect yourself, like, is so concentrated now, and you form healthy boundaries around that, and you only let those in that love you for you because you love you for you. The people around us is a very good reflection, like how they treat us and see us is a very good reflection of how we treat ourselves and see ourselves. It's a very great indicator. And when we are totally seeing ourselves for ourselves and loving ourselves for ourselves, it hits different. And those other people, if they don't love us for who we are, or they're just there because they're hoping to get something from us, they're not in our inner circle anymore. They can't get into there. They don't get to us because they can't. We don't allow it. And this just takes time and constantly being open to thoughts and ideas and perceptions from around us, for us to be able to be like, is that true? Or how does that help me? Does that serve me? To be more stepped back, to see a bigger picture and to be able to respond as opposed to react. But I'm just letting you know that if I can do it, so can you. I'm telling you, this last 4 years has been a whirlwind. And since I quit my real job and started life coaching, just straight up life coaching, in January of 2023, mind you, it's June of 2023, the immense amount of openness that I have had and clarity and calmness in myself has skyrocketed, which you would think would be the opposite. Like, oh my God, shouldn't she be freaking out because she doesn't have full benefits at a job and she can, all that stuff, right? Nah, girl, it's not happening. So I'm letting you know, if I can do it, so can you. So challenge accepted. So my question for you, do you want to do it alone? I also have a presentation from a while back where I discussed do it yourself versus help with coaching and other avenues. And I did it myself for a decade, and it was slow and painful. And a lot of the times I ruminated in the same thing. So my question for you is do you want to do it alone? Because my offer to you is that I can support you. The very big beauty of things is that I offer one-on-one coaching sessions. We have 1 hour chats. It's over the phone. And we are in your city. You are the damn mayor, okay? And I'm there as an advisor. I come in and we're going to walk around. It's self-guided. we don't come to the sessions with an agenda and homework to do. It's, where are you at today? What are we looking at? Where are we in town? And there's questions I may have about something. It could just be some, like, what's going on over there? Or why is this like this? Or is that how it really is? You know, or, hey, have you tried looking at this? It's kind of hard to explain, but the thing is we go into your town and we start wandering around and we start digging around and poking around in things. And you end up seeing your town a little bit differently. And you start cleaning it up, getting rid of the weeds, getting rid of whatever riffraff or whatever, and you start getting really strong foundations going on. So we do one-on-one coaching sessions. And I offer 12-week and 12-month programs. So if you do a payment plan, the 12-week program comes to $1,500 total. So we do $500 before the first call, and then it's $500 for the next 2 months, each month. If you do 12 months, it's $5,200 total, $433 before the first call, and then the next 11 months, each month, it'll be $433, so monthly payments. But if you sign up right off the bat and you pay in full, it's $1,200 before the first call for 12 weeks and $5,000 before the first call for 12 months. And what are the benefits between 12 weeks and 12 months, you may ask? And there's great benefits to both. Now, like 12 weeks, say you just have like something like really hardcore that's really that's really bothering you, we can seriously hammer out a shit ton and within 6 to 8 weeks, okay? The amount of transformation you can't even imagine between 6 and 8 1-hour conversations is amazing. And then the next, whatever's left over from that, we can help start cleaning things up and polishing things off. And that really helps with tackling a major issue that might be occurring for you, a crisis or a big deal that's popped up. Or perhaps you're like, I am so new to coaching, I have no freaking clue, I don't want to make a commitment. 12 weeks gives you plenty of time to really see the benefits of coaching. A 1-hour call just ain't gonna cut it. A few calls ain't gonna cut it. But 12 weeks really gives you a good taste and gets you some actual results that you can then move on with. And by 3 months, you've gotten into some really good patterns and habits to help carry you forward. And there's no homework in between any of these sessions. We are just helping you become more aware. And all of the work is on your part. And a lot of it is just subconscious. Like you don't really realize you're doing it, but we're spending an hour each week talking. And that's what's really helping to rewire these thought processes and changing these perceptions and all the things that we were talking about earlier. Okay, so why 12 months? Okay, 12 months. Now I am telling you, I've done 12 months coaching and I've received is what I mean by that. And this is what really helps long-term habit forming, because now you're not just doing 12 weeks, you are really literally covering so much ground, because you get through one thing and another thing comes up. And when it's 12 months worth, you get so confident being able to take care of a lot of the smaller issues in life, or maybe you did tackle something that was super big, but you're still not completely used to or maybe confident in your own abilities to keep doing it. But as your coach, I'm here to remind you that you are a fucking badass and you can do it because you've been doing it. I am throwing your evidence back at you because a lot of the times you're going to discredit it. You're not even going to notice it because you're too busy going off to check the next box, to get the next thing done, to show everybody the rah rah, I did this and I did that. Like, and you don't give yourself enough credit. I am here to make sure not only are you giving yourself grace, but also that you're giving yourself the credit that you do deserve, to show you the evidence that you are doing the work, to quit beating yourself up, and to be okay with feeling pride in the fact that you've made these accomplishments. And that is a major benefit of 12 months, because we are there for each other, for me to help you to continually grow. And after a year, I mean, within 6 to 9 months, you're going to be so golden. The last few months is basically the training wheels are fully off, and I am nowhere really near you anymore with the bike. Like, you are riding around, you're starting to do tricks and stuff, Tony Hawk style or whatever. And it's extremely beneficial. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. It's extremely helpful to be able to have both of these options. And after 12 months, then you've had a lot of time and evidence to build up to help you fight against all those decades and years where you were thinking elsewise or otherwise. And you're not locked into only doing 12 weeks or 12 months. Like, you can re-up either way. You can do 12 weeks and then sign up for 12 months. You can do 12 months and sign up for 12 more weeks. But those are the two offers that I offer. So I gotta ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how invested are you? Because choosing to invest in myself has been the best decision of my life. I'm telling you, I did 10 years of do-it-yourself personal development, reading books, podcasts, taking courses, TED Talks, all the things. And I was making very small steps forward. I was making progress. It was just like a snail. And then last year, I hired a life coach. And that year, by leaps and bounds, I was breaking through barriers I hadn't realized I was hiding behind or blocked by. I went skydiving, terrified of heights. I was more open to other messages coming through to me and regarding life decisions. And I quit my job. I'm not saying go quit your job, but I quit my job, and I've been away from that for 6 months going on now, and have been so blessed because of that. And these are all things I would have never, ever have decided had I not taken the time to invest in myself. I have not been able to afford. It wasn't like I had a ton of money sitting in my account, my invest in myself bank account, like paycheck to paycheck, guys. I'm not lying to you. But I found ways to make it work. So, and thank God I have, because I don't even want to think about where I would be right now and how unhappy and disconnected and disgusted with life I would be. It just makes me feel gross to think about it. So literally, best decision of my life. Anybody have any questions? Let me look and see if there's chat going on. I kind of ignore the chat screens and stuff because I'm easily distracted. So I just kind of glance over real quick. Okay, and no questions. And I know a lot of the times on stuff like this, especially since nobody else is able to actually talk and it's public, and a lot of people don't want to discuss private problems or issues or concerns in a public forum, asking questions here isn't always the most comfortable thing. So the best route is to go hit up my calendar scheduling account and set up a free consultation with me, and we can discuss things further from there. And thank you so much, everybody, for listening. And I'm gonna stop recording.